Hey everyone, I'm Nathaniel Rumblejants, and this is Prime News. So our first story today on a bonus episode, a special weekend edition of Prime News, deals with GameStop. Yes, GameStop and what they think of the Nintendo Switch. CEO Mike Mahler said the following about the Switch in 2018. Yeah, I think it's a fair question with Nintendo. We know what happened with the Wii U. I'd say this is definitely a whole different platform that we saw in the past, that we have visibility to the software. So last year was a tremendous year for their software, as well as hardware. Between Zelda and Mario Odyssey and all of the games they had, it really drove a lot of hardware sales as well as software. I think this year, when we look at the slate of titles, many of which haven't even been announced yet, this year also looks very, very strong. So I think, at least for 2018, we'll continue to see the strong software slate drive additional install base on the hardware and increased attach rate. We don't have, really, visibility for 19 yet, but for 18, it should play out that way. So what you need to take away from this story is that GameStop really thinks that Nintendo Switch is going to be just fine this year, sales-wise. They obviously have a little bit of insider knowledge on the games that are arriving the rest of this year, so they can plan accordingly. And yeah, they think it's going to be great. There's going to be a great slate of games that could maybe even match last year. We know one of them is Smash. We'll see what the rest of the lineup shapes up to be, probably around E3. Anyways, moving on to our second story. This is very interesting because NIS America, I know it sounds like a weird name for a company. It's actually a Japanese company, has crapped all over Sony while trying to praise Nintendo. And this is a very interesting story. So NIS America President Takura Yamashita said this this in a UK magazine, right? Japanese company, UK magazine, whatever. MCV magazine this month in the UK. And this is what they had to say about Nintendo and Sony. We're starting to do more on Nintendo Switch. SNK Heroines is not the only one. They support us in a good way. Compared to that, Sony is not friendly with small publishers like us. They just care about big Japanese companies. Also, if we simultaneously release a Switch version and a PlayStation 4 version of the same title, currently the sales trend is 2-to-1. That means the Switch version sells twice as much as the PlayStation 4 version, physically and digitally. A lot of PlayStation 4 titles are coming up, so the market is very competitive. Compared to that, the Switch market still has lots of room for publishers to make money. This is a veiled shot at Sony in terms of their inability to create a thriving market for smaller developers. And they said it themselves. Sony just doesn't care about them. I obviously have no insider knowledge on this, so all I can do is go off of NIS America's, their opinions on this and their firsthand knowledge. But not only are their games selling 2-to-1 on a platform that has way less units out there than PlayStation 4, Nintendo seems to be putting their hands out better for it. So it's one of those things where, yes, the Switch is not as saturated, obviously, as PlayStation 4, but PlayStation 4 has done a poor job creating visibility for smaller games, and their response is basically, we don't care unless you're a big game from a big AAA company. So it is what it is. SNK Heroines is going to do really well on Switch, as I think they expect, and I think as I expect, and as anyone should reasonably expect. It looks like a pretty good game. So at the end of the day, man, I mean, I'm not into this console war business, but there definitely is a difference in where companies are going. We know PlayStation 4 and Sony really caters hardcore to the big AAA companies like EA and Ubisoft. And we know that Nintendo right now doesn't have a lot of those big games coming that we're aware of anyways. So while they've kind of got Bethesda in tow, they're still really catering to the smaller developers, and it's working out well for them, and it seems to be a good partnership because we as Switch owners are happy to have these kind of games, and we're buying them. So, yeah, it is what it is. You guys let me know what you think about those comments down in the comments below. Weird way to phrase that. All right, moving on to our third story. This is actually maybe the biggest news of the weekend, and the whole reason we're even doing a Prime News episode, because a lot of this other stuff I could have waited till Monday, but this news is too big to wait on, and that is that a new Animal Crossing game very well may have been semi-confirmed. Granted, not really confirmed at all, but it's being hinted at coming into existence because of Nintendo themselves. This isn't like a leak coming from some random person who has an uncle at Nintendo. We're talking about something Nintendo did to the Animal Crossing official website. So they did a massive site overhaul, which, again, usually only happens when a new game releases or is about to release. And they have a slew of placeholder items that don't really make any sense and don't fit currently in Animal Crossing's world. And those will get filled in, obviously, when a new game is announced. That would almost suggest a new game announcement is possibly imminent, as in this could get announced before E3. Beyond that, the Wii U and 3DS game pages have basically been completely destroyed. They technically exist. One of them actually says, "Hey, this is a Kirby game," showing that they copy pasted code from the Kirby website over. I mean, that never coders never copy code, right? As I noted before, massive site updates like this usually only happen around the time a game is being announced, revealed, or coming out. And as a reminder, back in 2016 when they announced that Animal Crossing was coming to phones, later called Pocket Camp, we didn't know that at the time, Nintendo did say the following: Nintendo will design the latter game so that it will be connected with the world of Animal Crossing dedicated gaming systems. By playing both games, the users will find increased enjoyment. And what we know, Pocket Camp does not directly connect to Animal Crossing New Leaf. So that is hinting at a new game. So there's already been a hint that there's a new game potentially coming to Switch. And now we have this update to the official site. Ball seems to be rolling here that there is likely an Animal Crossing game announcement coming at some point this year. And I want to give credit to a Twitter user called Leak Review. It's actually a newer account, but they are the ones that pointed this out and brought attention to it because let me just be honest, a lot of us don't pay attention to the official websites for these games. For very good reason. The official websites are usually really crappy and outdated and don't have current information. So there's not a whole lot of reason unless you're just a casual consumer to visit it. But they visited it. They got it. They took screenshot evidence. I also confirmed it myself in visiting. If it's changed since we started reporting on this, I have no idea. But I actually saw this and confirmed it myself. So if you believe me, well, then there you go. Otherwise, the screenshot evidence I'm using from what they did because I wasn't sure if I was going to report on this until today. And it is what it is. So you guys let me know what you think about that. I am excited for a new Animal Crossing. It's obvious that Animal Crossing is going to come to Switch at some point. That would be a pretty big deal if it lands this year. It also could mean maybe they're going to put Pokemon in the spring, and then you kind of have that slate of hit and smash, Animal Crossing Pokemon in this fiscal year, which would be a pretty damn impressive lineup for sales anyways, that's for sure. Moving on, we have a few other news pieces to get to quick. For starters, there is now footage out there for Wolfenstein 2 in tabletop mode, which is obviously, a nice way of seeing the game play on there. But what's impressive about seeing it in a more portable state is that they are using the gyro motion controls. This footage was recorded by Game Explain. You've already been watching a little snippet of it here as I've been talking about it. To me, it actually looks pretty solid, and we'll have a link to the full video if you want to see how it runs in portable and if you want to see the gyro controls in more action below. Next story we have for you has to do with the producer of Dragon Quest XI. He has confirmed that the game is in development for Switch, but they are waiting for an update to Unreal Engine 4 to land on Switch for support. Basically, Dragon Quest XI was built in Unreal Engine 4.5, and the Switch only supports Unreal Engine 4.12 fully, so there's some missing features, and they're hoping that Unreal and Nintendo get together and make it compatible and get it up to date on the platform. But they really wanted to release Switch and PlayStation 4 version of it simultaneously, but because of these issues, they didn't. They are still working on it, but it is what it is. At this point, it sounds like they're just waiting on an update, and as soon as the update happens, they can tell us more about when Dragon Quest XI is coming to Switch. So it's still planning to come to Switch, but they want to make sure it's coming in the right way, where they don't have to just cut things out of the game to make it work on an older version of Unreal Engine. And our last story for today deals with Funimation. So supposedly Funimation has announced at a PAX East panel, according to Rogers Base on Twitter. He's the one who got this out there. He was at the panel, and he says they're currently working on an app for Switch. However, while Funimation isn't denying this report, they have stated the following on Twitter: "Fans, you may hear news announcing our Funimation Now streaming app on Nintendo Switch. To clarify, we haven't made an official announcement. When there's anything official to announce, you'll hear it from us first. Thanks for your enthusiasm as we work to get on the platform." And for those who don't know, Funimation is a popular anime streaming service, and it would mark this second streaming service that we know is coming to Switch. Really the third if you want to count the one in Japan, but in the US that would be Hulu and then Funimation. Still no reason, don't know why we don't have Netflix, don't know why we don't have YouTube. Or Twitch or anything else. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. I personally would like to see even support for things like DirecTV Now. And you might think, oh, but why? I'm like, well, my Switch is often docked in my office to my office TV, which while it's a smart TV, the smart TV app store does not have DirecTV Now. So that would actually be the only way I could watch my cable service that I use a streaming service for in my office, besides using it on my PC, which is kind of a hassle at times. So it is what it is. You guys let me know what you think about all of this news down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode of Prime News. I am Nathaniel Rumpeljans from Nintendo Prime, and if you like this video, you know what to do, and if you dislike the video, hit that dislike button, subscribe for more content, and as always, folks, I'll catch you in the next one.